Welcome back to the Prosperous Life Podcast. Thank you so much for showing up week after week to transform your life, as that really allows you to transform this world. Now, if this is new to you and you're new to the Prosperous Life Podcast, thank you so much for showing up. I hope you find the value you're looking for and hope that I transform your life as well. Now, today, the goal is to show you the power you hold. Today, it's to give you the power, even if you recognize it or not. You just need to begin to see yourself in a different light. So the goal of today is to give you that light, to give you the platform and the place to begin to see yourself for who you really are capable of becoming and doing. Now, a lot of people today see what I have achieved. See that I'm launching a book soon, see that I'm launching a membership to where I can help a community really transform as one. They don't see my low points. So even though I've been here, and even though I've been in a really good place for a long time, that doesn't mean I always was. Today we're talking about seeing yourself through God's eyes. And there was a time that I believe God saw me at my very lowest point. To paint a picture, I was extremely high and drunk. I was in my basement, just hanging out with a bunch of friends. And at this point in my life, I was really questioning my lifestyle. I was questioning my moral compass. I was questioning the common sense of what I really thought meant to be successful. I saw the trajectory that I was on, and I didn't want to be that. It didn't feel very authentic to me. I wasn't being the person I wanted to be, because I clearly wasn't. I mean, I was stealing. I was doing drugs. I was skipping classes. I wasn't being the person that I knew I was capable of being. It wasn't a matter of question. It was fact. So high, drunk in my basement with friends, and I heard a voice, and it was very prominent. It's not that I had to go to the bathroom, but it was a voice that called me and said, "Go to the bathroom." And I went to the bathroom, locked the door, and then a light came over me. I don't know how to explain it, but a light came over to me, and I was immediately sober. I looked at myself in the mirror, and it's almost as if I saw my true self. Just for a moment, I saw what I was capable of being. I saw the vision. And the voice, I consider it an angel. I would say it was definitely an angel, said to me, either you will die before you graduate high school, or you will transform your life. And to me, that was my calling and my solidification that you are able to transform your life, and you are able to transform this world. You have a higher purpose here. But if you're not going to live your purpose and you're not going to achieve your destiny, then what's the point of you having you here? So choose. I knew God saw me for what I was worth. I knew God saw me for what I was capable of becoming. And this podcast, if you're a man or a woman of faith, or whether you're a man or a woman of non-faith and you don't believe in God, this is not my intention. This is my truth and my truth only. If you don't believe in God, I just encourage you to look up to something bigger than yourself. I don't care. It could be mountains. Just look up to something greater than yourself. With that in mind, I know God saw me and I know God sees you. So this is for you, whether you're at your lowest point in life, like I was, depressed, anxiety, not wondering where life is, what's my purpose. I don't know what this is for me, what I'm doing. But this is also for you if you're at your highest peak in life. If you're doing so good that you don't know what could go wrong. Because everybody needs to hear a message. And I think at any point, if you're at your highest peak, then I think it's fair to say that at some point you are also at your lowest peak. So the thing is, most people don't believe they are worthy. And whether you think you're worthy or not, you are worthy. It's just a matter of whether you believe it or not. And that's really what's going to take you forward or backwards in life. If you're ticking forward, you're generally going to have a really solid mindset. whether it's ticking forward in a moment, a day, months, weeks, years. And if you're ticking backwards, usually your mindset is off. Your emotional mastery is not a thing, right? So with that in mind, whether you think so or not, some simple awareness, seeing yourself in a different light and taking some action, soon you'll begin to see your true self and for who you're worth and for what you're capable of doing and capable of being. With that in mind, the first thing I want to jump into is seeing your life as a mountain. Your life is a mountain, and I hope you recognize that. Your life's a mountain. If you're on camera and you're seeing this video, you have a big base, you have a long journey, and there's the peak. The peak, and if you're not on camera, you can visualize that. The peak is your destiny. This is what you're called to do in life. This is all that you're capable of becoming. This is all you're capable of doing. When you achieve the peak, you've done everything in life that you were called to do. And at that point, you're close to the clouds and it's time to go. It's your time. Now, most people see life as a linear momentum, and it's not. Let's be honest here. The mountains have some of the scariest things, at least in my opinion. Snakes, I hate snakes. Spiders, I hate spiders too, not as much as snakes. There's the peaks, the valleys. There's also the butterflies. There's also the chipmunks. There's also the deer. There's also the wolves, the coyotes. So there's good and bad. And if you embrace the good and bad today, and you accept the journey of the peaks, the valleys, the plateaus, you accept the spiders, the snakes, the butterflies, you'll be able to enjoy the journey so much more. I'm sorry to say, but you can't walk a mountain without snakes and spiders. You can't walk a mountain without any valleys or plateaus. You just can't. It's a part of the journey. So in life, guess what? You're going to have valleys and you're going to have peaks and you're going to have plateaus. And then there's going to be a scorpion that stabs you in your back, and it's going to be a part of life. But guess what? If you keep taking a step after a step after a step and then another step, you're going to win and you're going to achieve your destiny. It's when you stop, you get too tired and you start to make excuses that you don't achieve your life's destiny. What's it going to be? Are you going to achieve what you're capable of being and doing, or are you not? Because it's always, every single day, the sun's going to come up and the sun's going to come down. And it's going to do that whether you feel like it or not. So if you stay in bed and you don't take that step forward and you don't grow, guess what? You just lost a day that you'll never get back in your entire life. But if you don't feel like it and you still get up and you decide to still show up for yourself because you know that you have a purpose here in this world, you grew today. You took a step. Now, I'm not saying your 100% today may look the same as 100% tomorrow. What's important is you do show up 100%. So taking your 100% today may be walking an entire trail on a mountain, but your 100% another day may just be taking one step. And that's okay. Again, be okay with the journey. But what's important is you're growing every single day, no matter what, no ifs, ands, and buts. So with that in mind, become aware of where you want to go, ultimately. Where I want to go is the top of the mountain. I'm going for the biggest peak in my entire journey. You want to become of where you're at. Maybe you're at the very base of the mountain. Maybe you're in a valley right now, but you're still have started your journey. Maybe you're at a peak. Maybe you're at a plateau. Become really aware of where you're at in life. And then paint the picture to fill the gap to the peak of the mountain. I'm not saying you need to know every single step. I'm not saying you need to know everything that's going to happen in your life. I'm not going to say that you need to know exactly the left turns, the right turns, any of that. What I'm saying is you need to figure out your next 2 to 9 steps. And that comes with your vision board, your goal setting. If you don't know that, after this podcast, I would encourage you to go over there and listen to a podcast or go to my website, braidenbelnap.com, and get the free gift that will teach you how to develop your goals in a vision board. Now, 2 to 9 steps. These are your next steps in order that will take you to getting to your life vision or your destiny, the top of the mountain. If you keep setting 2 to 9 steps, you're always going to be taking steps forward. As long as you choose to show up moment to moment, day after day, you will win. It's just a matter of when. It's not a matter of if. It's literally a matter of when. That's what's so miraculous. It's the people that give up that don't achieve their destiny, don't achieve their life vision because they gave up. But again, taking a step at a time, you will win. Now, as you develop this, one of the biggest things that people miss is who they need to become. I always say you can become more so you can achieve more. It's your identity. If you identify with making $1 million, you probably, or at some point, will make $1 million. If you identify with making $50,000 a year, you probably will stay at $50,000 a year. If you identify as an athlete, you probably will be fit. If you identify as a reader, you probably will grow. If you identify as a personal development person that is always shooting to grow mentally, spiritually, and physically, you probably will always begin to grow. If you identify as a hard worker, you'll probably be a hard worker. I think you get the point that you get what you identify with. Are you shooting to be a reader, or are you just shooting to read 12 books this year? Are you shooting to get to 170 pounds, or are you shooting to be an athlete? Most people fail because they don't identify with the right things. They're identifying with the outcome, and that's not enough. There's no pain and pleasure associated with that. So the question is, what are you going to be? We can't go from the bottom of the mountain to the top of the mountain. So you can't just be outcome-based. You need to be aware of what the outcome is. You need to become aware of where you're at, and you need to paint the picture of filling in the gap. But you also need to become somebody. Shoot to just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and you will make it up the mountain. But you can't go from 1 and then make a massive jump and do at 100 and be at the top of the mountain, at the peak, because you will fall flat on your face. Don't be resistant. Just go with the flow. Take a step at a time and identify with something greater, and you will win. Again, most people fail because they identify with the outcome and they go from 1 to 100. Don't do that. Now, you know what your destiny is. You know what the peak is. You know you want to achieve the top of your mountain. You know where you're at. You know how to fill the gap, and you know what you identify with. Now, you need to see yourself through a greater light. You need to have belief in yourself, even if you don't have belief in yourself. Most people don't show up, and it doesn't get them anywhere to achieve even close to their destiny because they don't believe in themselves. Since they don't believe they're worthy, since they don't believe they can, since they don't believe that they are the individual called from God, they don't show up. They stay in bed. They ultimately stay stagnant with life because they're not achieving the success that they're looking for because they don't believe in themselves. So begin to see yourself through something greater. If you believe in God, I would invite you to see yourself through God and ask yourself the question, how does God see me? How does God see me today? How would I show up if I showed up the way God believed in me, if the way that God saw me? Begin to see yourself from something so much greater than yourself. And when you see yourself through God's eyes, you can begin to show up from God's eyes, and you will begin to instill your self-belief. Now, if you don't see or believe in God, I invite you to see yourself through something else, whether that's mountains or something bigger than yourself, but also through maybe somebody you love. Maybe you're really close to your grandma. Maybe you're really close to your mom. Maybe you're really close to your dad, your grandpa, your wife, your spouse, whatever it is. And ask those same questions, but through a different name. How does my spouse see me? How does God, or how does grandma see me? How does grandpa see me? How does mom see me? How does dad see me? And begin to see yourself and begin to tell yourself that story. You may have a lot of reasons on why not to believe in yourself, but a lot of other people have a lot of reasons to believe in you. And if you're listening to this and you're like, well, I've been doing drugs and I've been stealing and I've been doing the wrong things and I've been sneaking out of my parents' house, why would they believe me? I was doing the same thing. I'm here. Why can't you? Maybe it's not around drugs and sneaking out. Maybe it's that you haven't been working and you've been just hanging out at mom and dad's house, not getting a job and not moving your life forward. Okay. That doesn't mean you can't now. If you're 30, 40, 50, maybe all of us with how much the health and science has evolved, maybe we all live to 100 watching this. If you're 50 even, are you really going to throw half of your life away because the other half of it didn't go so well? Come on now. I believe in you. God believes in you. Your family believes in you. It's time for you to start believing in you. It's time for you to put the power back into your own hands. It's time for you to stop relying on other people. If you don't believe in yourself, that's okay. Just see yourself through something greater than yourself, and then show up in that regard. And soon, after seeing yourself every day through something greater, you will begin to see yourself in the light. And then show up, as we've talked about. Most people simply don't show up. Most people see something greater. Most people want the $1 million. Most people want the financial freedom. Most people want the lifestyle freedom. Most people want life freedom. Most people want relationship freedom. Most people want freedom. Most people want lifestyle freedom. Yet most people aren't willing to sacrifice to get the lifestyle freedom. So, are you going to show up to achieve your destiny, or are you going to settle like 99.99% of people? You have the ability to show up even just by simply showing up one step at a time. You don't need to be a miraculous individual right now. You don't need to be the Tony Robbins. You don't need to be the Les Brown. You don't need to be the Grant Cardone. You don't need to be the Ty Lopez. You don't need to be the Ed Milet. You don't need to be Kobe Bryant. You don't need to be Stephen Curry. You don't need to be Tiger Woods. You don't need to be these famous individuals to potentially be enough. You just need to show up one step at a time, and one step's going to lead to a stride, and so on and so forth. What's important is you keep taking one step at a time. Again, peak of the mountain. If you're at the base of the mountain and you just keep taking one step at a time, it's inevitable you are going to reach the top. We don't need to make massive actions. Sometimes small shifts will make the biggest difference. Your thoughts are generally repetitive. So people overlook transforming one thought. Really? One thought will make a big difference in your life, trust me. So with that in mind, as you go up this mountain, I encourage you to explore, taking one step at a time. If you see that side trail, take the side trail. If you end up hating that side trail, that's okay. Get right back on track. You might love it, and you may attach it, and you may live a better life. What does that side trail mean? It means that your 9-to-5 may be in finance. It might be medical. It might be an engineering job. It might be author. It might be in personal development. Whatever the case is, there's always other things to do in this life. Explore. Never really been a person in the mountains and like nature, go explore the mountains. Never been really into art, things of that nature, go get into art. Try new things, explore. Enjoy life, do things for you and put you first. Now, I want you to know that at some point, you will meet the person that you could have become. And again, as long as you keep taking that step, I do firmly believe that the person you will become, you're going to be able to meet that person and you're going to be able to oh, I know exactly who you are. It's going to be a mirror. But imagine getting to the end of your life, right? You achieve the end of your life. You didn't achieve your destiny. And you look at the person that you could have potentially become and you can't recognize them. Let that sink in. Not becoming or doing what you were capable of doing. Not doing what you were called to do. That hits me hard. I'm sure it hits you hard, but I want to become all that I could become. And as you become something great, and as you become to do things that are extraordinary, and as you begin to take steps after steps, from seeing yourself through God's eyes, you're going to be able to build your confidence. You're going to be able to build something great in yourself. You're going to have the confidence in yourself, and you're going to be able to do what you want to do because you know you can. And that's going to persevere you through life. Now, I'm grateful to know, and I'm very confident to know, that I will meet a mirror of myself when it comes my time. I know some of you watching this don't have that confidence, and I know all of you watching this, whether you do or don't have that confidence, will get there if you just take one step at a time. And if you need purpose, you need these things, you need to see yourself through a better light. I would love to be able to coach you, even if you reach out to me, I'm sure I would be willing to give you a gift session just to be able to help transform your life. Now, with that in mind, you're becoming a superhero every single day. See yourself. See yourself in the greatest power. See yourself for the way you hold yourself. Put yourself first right now. You don't need to be focused on the world. You don't need to be focused on your family. You don't need to be focused on your community or your friends. Focus on you with the intention that someday you will impact, again, your friends, family, community, the world. But we need you first to be able to show up. You're capable of achieving your destiny, so don't underestimate yourself. Now, again, see yourself through God's eyes. See your life as a mountain. See where you want to go, where you're at, and fill the gap with 2 to 9 steps at a time. See yourself through God's eyes, a family member's eyes, something greater than yourself. And then show up, and that confidence will come. With that in mind, I want to thank you again, each and every one of you showing up every single week, day, whatever the case is, to transform yourself, because you're giving yourself the power to transform this world. And if you enjoyed this podcast, I encourage you to look at the list of podcasts to find any other ways that this Prosperous Life Podcast can serve you. And today, I encourage you to go follow my Instagram at Braiden Belnap. I post videos on a daily basis, 7 days a week, 2 to 3 videos. You can get snippets every single day of value to help you transform your life, to begin to take action so that you can achieve your destiny. With that in mind, have a wonderful rest of your day.